so much. So probably to start with, I would love to speak generally about maybe the challenges, because I think it's very important to know where you're coming from before you can get to actually addressing the actual issues. So I'll speak basically from my space. So I'm mostly education and health bias. So maybe from the health sector. So from the health sector, you find that majority of the challenges that young people are facing right now are issues to do with access to services. Because you find that most countries, it's just now that we're trying to harmonize age of consent to accessing especially sexual reproductive health services. So you find that most young people are excluded.
Saif, as a student yourself, would you agree with some of the things that Shuko is saying, that your education system is not properly preparing you for the workplace?
That's very true, because sometimes people getting to study, but there are some programs I think which are very important. Like we may have career guidance, we may have internship. Someone finish university having internship for 1 year before going to work, getting a permanent job. It improve your skills, it improve your practice. You practice what you have learned from school, and it may not that such difficult to get a job and to be an operator, because our education sometimes it creates much of supervisor than operators.
Right. And then Halima, in terms of your operations, I mean, you're operating this NGO right now. I mean, how did you get into it for a start, and why are you doing it? What are you hoping to achieve?
Since I was in school, in primary and secondary school, I used to see young women getting pregnant, you know, dropping out, and then I was like, no, when I finish my education, I have to go and open an organization as a young person, and that is what I did when I finished my college. Why doing it? Because I thought that I'm supposed to be there from the beginning. I'm supposed to plan, you know, the organization doing what I want to do. Most of the organization I'm seeing, yeah, okay, they're doing amazing things, but I want to do something on what I want, what I think is, you know, the better way for young people to access maybe information on sexual and reproductive health.
And you know, Namakatu, you work a lot with women in Zambia. Can you relate to some of the things that Halima was just sharing there?
Yes, absolutely, Fifi. The issues that are being mentioned from Tanzania are quite common in Zambia as well. In my line of work, the very first thing we want to do is start the conversations around what challenges that are young people facing. You know, most of these ills, most of these social ills you will realize that they are gendered. Sex is an issue, is actually a point of marginalization. But just as sex is, age is also. There's a lot of ageism where the younger they are, the more barriers they face in terms of access to services. So we start our intervention with breaking the silence. We start the conversations around topics that are not generally discussed. But beyond having discussions with the young people, then we reach out to decision makers and policy makers on what needs to change at a higher dimension.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of speaking to those policymakers, are they hearing you? Are they listening to you and taking some of the advice that you are giving them on board?
I must say that we've made some strides. I will speak for Zambia in particular. I think that we have been trying to reach out to policymakers to hear us, and we have seen institutions put in place to ensure that young people are on board in terms of decision making.
And Halima, is it the same in Tanzania? Are the authorities listening to what young people are saying?
Actually, they are, and we have a lot of policies, and we have a lot of things which have been signed. Like now, in February, they signed the roadmap for demographic dividend, investing in young people. So I think we have a lot of policies, we have a lot of documents which are amazing, but at the end of the time, implementation, because we keep repeating the same thing over and over. Young people need comprehensive sex education, curriculum for comprehensive sex education in primary school, in secondary school, you know, so as people can get information when, you know, about their body. But we keep saying we need those things, they sign, but nobody is implementing. No.
Right. So guys, we are here at this conference that's discussing economic advancement, mainly women. So sorry, gentlemen, we excuse you guys are already there. But it's economic advancements of the African economy as a whole. And in key sectors, as we're looking at mining and energy, technology, finance, and the like. For young people to also be a part of that conversation, What do you think needs to happen? And I'd like to ask you, Shuko, because you have a startup. So as an up-and-coming, your future Silicon Valley man, what needs to happen to ensure that your business becomes a big business in 5-10 years to come?
Okay. The major challenge is access to finances. So capital is it's you give me all these skills in entrepreneurship, but as long as I don't have this finance to start up, it's going to be very difficult to even apply anything that you will share, or all the skills that you impart in me. Because you find that I know they might say we have national youth funds, we have other microfinance companies, banks give loans, but the question to ask is, are these finances youth friendly? You find they will ask you for collateral that you don't have.
But obviously we'd have to balance that, because I mean, if you don't have collateral, you're really high risk, and what guarantee do the lenders have that you'll be able to pay them back? And I want to speak to you, Saif, because you are going to go into university and you're studying economic development, so you are going to hopefully be in that seat to make these economies better. But in terms of what we're discussing now, access to finance, so if I'm going to ask you to think on your feet quickly, but how could we remedy that situation so that we've got more young people getting access to capital to build businesses, but still ensuring our banks are not lending recklessly to just anybody?
Well, I think my concern is, yes, I agree. We need to ensure the economics is up for young people and everyone in our countries, but I think we should put some priorities, especially in something like health issues, education, which on my side I think it will help us to drive in our economy to be high. You know, when you put much investment on health issues, you may reduce the fertility rate, you may reduce teenage pregnancies, you may reduce malnutrition. Then you can create a population, the structured population, it will be having a huge working group than dependent ratio.
What else do you think needs to happen to ensure that young people get this bigger portion of this demographic dividend that we're speaking about?
We first need to invest in girls' education, because I mean, when we talk about teenage pregnancy, most of the time, where are the boys? Because I mean, I can't be pregnant myself. But most of the time, it's always girls. It's always girls. Girls are facing the consequences. So we have to invest in girls.
I think in addition to everything, we need to pay a lot of attention to governance issues.
Sure.
Above education and health, we need to ensure that young people are sitting at the decision-making table. Because, you know, Fifi, young people know what they want. I think the assumption that young people do not know, young people may not add value to the table, that is not right. Young people know what they want.